Hi, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Expat Encounters. And today I have a dope couple straight out of the United States of America. You guys, introduce yourselves.
I'm Katrina Walker.
I'm TJ. We love it.
Love it? Tell me a little bit about yourselves before coming to Panama.
Okay, so before coming to Panama, we both we worked in San Diego. We lived in San Diego for 12 years. And I worked as a financial analyst. Katrina worked as a dental hygienist. And honestly, everything was pretty good. We enjoyed what we had going on in San Diego. Life was pretty good.
Okay. And were you already a couple when you were in the United States?
Yes. So we have been a couple since 2008? 2009. We met when we were both in the military. We were both stationed up in Everett, Washington. Both of us prior Navy. We ended up getting married a few years after we met. This will be year 14. This will be our 14th year married, and we have a little girl with us, a little 5-year-old, so one kid.
Wow, thank you for your service, you guys. First off, freedom is not free, and I'm a military kid, so I know what it's all about. So thank you for your service, for serving your country.
It was an honor.
Yes. So how did you meet on your journey? Basically, when you were in the military, was there any cute little encounter?
Well, he was there before I got there. And when I got there, I was assigned to a barracks, which is a dorm, an apartment. And my roommate was his friend's girlfriend. And everybody I met already knew him. So I was kind of drawn into his circle. And then we really didn't start talking until we had a mutual friend of ours. They got hurt. And we would go visit them in the hospital. And thanks to God, the friend is good. And then we started dating.
Okay. Do you both recall the same thing, or is that the story and you're sticking to it?
We both recall the same thing. I have more description, but we both recall the same thing.
He seen you and he was like, ooh, I'm going to get her.
That happened.
You want that story?
Katrina, you're holding back on us.
You want that story?
No, I'm just messing with you guys. It was cute. So you were together for quite a while. When did you say, okay, it's time to start a family?
We both made the plan that we would go to college and get settled in our careers. So first, she got out the military first, and I stayed in. She went to college. And when she got into her career, I got out and I went to college. Then we both got into our careers in roughly 2019. We said, hey, let's have a kid. And it happened immediately. And then 2020, we have our daughter now. And that's pretty much it happened. But we made the plan to not do it until after we both were in our careers.
Careers, houses, cars, all the boxes had to be checked. And they did.
Yeah.
That's good. You rarely hear that, you guys. That's super mature because people just kind of say, oh, life happens, but you really can plan it out. It doesn't have to just be an accident that forces you into this, and this. So I like what I'm hearing from you guys. Such a young couple. If you don't mind sharing your ages.
I'm 34.
I just turned 37.
See? Oh, ahead of the game, you guys. That's what I'm talking about.
I'll be 35 this year. But for now, I'm 34.
Yes, your whole life is ahead of you. I'm so inspired by you. So what inspired this move to Panama? You have a small child. You guys are out of the military. Now what? Panama. How'd that come about?
We made really good money in San Diego. Really, really good. But I started to realize it doesn't matter. There's not enough. There's just not enough in comparison with the bills. And also, especially having a small kid, it was I wanted to 100% be a part of her upbringing. I don't want to hear from a secondhand person oh yeah, she walked for the first time today or whatever. And single income San Diego, that's not going to work. And I didn't want him to miss anything either. So there was a lot of things that were brought up of like, okay, well, we have a kid. We want to both be actively in her life and be involved in her upbringing, not just, let her be raised by schools or whatever. It was the problem of never being able to retire or never be able to afford to retire in San Diego. And it was just always the rat race where it was like, you never felt satiated. You never felt like it was enough. It's like, yeah, I make good money, but I need more. Because the bills would be that high. So what I started to look for countries, number one, safe for Black people. Number two, good solid medical infrastructure. Because of the fact that we have a young kid, I don't want no problems. We have a standard. I'm not saying that the American standard is the best, but we have a standard that we're used to. And I just wanted to either be at that standard or above. And third, I needed someplace that was no violence or minimal violence, especially once again with a kid not knowing a country, not knowing the culture. It's already a culture shock. I don't want to have to be worried about gangs and violence and things like that. So I had looked up top places for people to retire that is safe, is cheap, and has quality medical. And Panama made the list for the last 4 years, top 3. And then I happened to be Panamanian. That was the last part because we actually considered Mexico. Well, I considered Mexico a lot because Mexico is like number 1.
I wanted to go to Asia. So.
I also, being honest, I'm 100% open to other countries, but because of having a small child, I wanted some place where we could fit in for her sake. Minimal racism, minimal discrimination. In Asia, we stand out like a sore thumb. We're too tall, we're too Black, we're too everything. So that was another perspective where I was like, where's a place that's kind of like a melting pot like America, where we could integrate and it's not always like, oh, the foreigner, look at the foreign, type thing. So Panama checked all the lists, or all of it. And then with my parents being Panamanian, me being born in the US, it was also one of those like, I could just go back home.
So you have a line to citizenship here.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you're supposed to lead with this whole I'm Panamanian thing, like, hello.
Well, the reason why I don't lead with it was because it was not a forethought. Like, it was not like, oh, let's go to Panama because I'm Panamanian, It was like, oh, it has all of these things. And the last thing was like, oh yeah, I guess I am Panamanian. I could, utilize my benefits in that aspect. But if we would have chosen Mexico or Asia, it would have been for those reasons, not because of my citizenship.
And also with her being Panamanian, it wasn't like she would blend in with the Panamanians. She's learning Spanish like we are. So she's American to the bone. So we got to do all this together.
That's what's up. Okay. So like that, all that planning, all the pros and cons of moving here, those were your expectations. How's the reality of it now that you're living here?
Honestly, I love it because she had to convince me. She had came down for her grandmother's birthday and she was like, hey, I think we should move here. And I'm thinking in my head, like, nah, we're not going there. Like, nah, I don't want to go there. Like, all I've heard about Panama was, developing country this, developing country that. So I'm thinking like, okay, we're going somewhere into the wilderness. And she was like, just come and visit. I was like, I'll go visit and we'll try. I visited one time, came here. I looked around and said, wow, this place is really cool. There's a lot going on. They got some nicer things than what we got back in California. So I'm like, okay, this is not a developing country as they like to describe it. Everyone's driving BMWs and Porsches and whatnot. There's money here, clearly. So we ended up making 4 visits in 1 year, and then we just up and moved the very next year. So the reality of our expectation has truly been fulfilled. We came and we first moved to Costa del Este, the lesson culture shock, wider streets, et cetera, et cetera. But it wasn't enough. We wanted to get back into the city. So now we moved into the city, and the culture shock, it's better for you like this. The culture shock just comes from language barrier. And then once you get past language barrier, you'll see like people are way more relaxed. I didn't realize how tightly wound we were until we got here. And it took like 3 months to figure out like, hey, we don't have to be like that. Relax, live your life, be happy.
Because if you can't do that in Panama, you will be very unhappy because they got CP time beat by a million, because you could be here all day, like waiting for a service person to come. 9 a.m. is like 9 p.m. or the next day in their book. So yeah, you definitely learn to take a chill pill when you move here to Panama. That's for sure. You gotta love it though. You know, the people are there, they live their lives, they enjoy when it's a day off, or when the city shut down, They're not sitting here playing around trying to be workaholics, like that whole, US mentality of just, work till you die. So I do appreciate that about the people here. Okay, so like most people are just here, they're retired, they got the pensionado, or, they're a single person like me. You guys are a family with a kid. So like, give us the insights on like the experience navigating life with the kid. Like they have to have activities, transportation, the food, the schools. Like give me insights on your research or your understanding of, having a child here in Panama, a small child at that.
Okay. So as far as all the resources that we have in the US are the same here, which is nice. I feel like Panama is more focused, like it emphasizes the kids more. The amount of schools that they have within like just the city alone is ridiculous. And the schools vary in price and vary in like what's provided. So a lot of the schools out here are trilingual, where they teach 3 languages as a standard.
Started from kindergarten.
Yeah, which is like, exactly. And what? Like, why wouldn't you want to learn 3 languages from, kindergarten? They have a lot of summer school programs or activities for the kids. A lot of the kids here, extracurriculars, karate, gymnastics, horseback riding, everything that we would have in the US that you would think they have here. And often they have it tied to the school, which is very nice. So your kid can learn how to swim in school as a kindergartner. Also do karate, also learn how to play soccer. They could learn how to dance. They have a lot of STEM, but they call it STEAM here. Yeah. Robotics, all of these things that they can learn, which is really, really nice. So because it's focused towards the kids, obviously that's a huge deal. The parks, always open, always activities. They have museums.
But the crazy thing with the parks, the museums, and all these things, the outdoorsy things for kids, the kids are actually outside playing.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that drew me here was we have so many beautiful parks back home, but they're empty until there's a barbecue or 4th of July or something. But my daughter's at the park right now, and there's kids at the park all the time. They're outdoors playing. Like I haven't seen kids play since I was a kid. Everyone's inside on their tablets or they're playing their video games, but these kids they're climbing trees still. They're getting old school scars,
Exactly.
No, I was saying, that's one of the things I feel about Panama. It just takes me back to the olden days of how we were raised, where it was family and Sunday dinners and playing outside. So that I love the traditional aspect of this country.
Another thing that was something that I did not consider was here, the culture is, it's very common to have a nanny. So a nanny here will cook and clean and take care of your kid, all for the same price. And obviously, especially in the US, I would assume you'd have to get like a housekeeper, like a maid, and then a separate a nanny, or we don't really have the combo, at least for common folk where I'm from.
If you do have it,
you're rich. You're rich.
Affordable.
It's not. So also with that aspect, it's a whole different perspective in the type of quality of life we have. Because, like, example, in the U.S., we were on our own, right? Like, as most parents are, there is outside of family, but we didn't live near family. But the nice thing is here is we can afford a nanny, and the nanny will take her to her extracurricular activities. And so, like, we still have time to explore the city and do whatever, any activities or appointments that we have that we need to do. And they have this thing, like, they have parks, but they also have these rooms in apartments called the social area, which is like the playground for kids. That's a huge area. Every day, all the kids flood the room, and they'll be there for hours, or they'll be at the pool, so there's not a shortage, thankfully, of activities for the kids to do. We went to the store one time, like a grocery store, and it was like Kid Appreciation Day, and they like painted. They had a face painter, like in the grocery store. Like little things like that where you'll run into it and you'll be like, I've never really seen this in the States.
And they have all the little they push the shopping carts. Like, they're teaching the kids how to become citizens pretty early. Kids are really respectful here too. I really like that.
They are. Even like I ride the train and buses a lot, and these young kids will like skid up for an elderly person or a pregnant lady, or I've even been offered a seat, and I'm like, no, I'm trying to, trying to get my exercise in, and but they're so mannerable. You rarely see them. Not to bag on the U.S., but we just have some characteristics of just unbecoming, like the sagging pants, just the mannerisms, just kind of stemming from social media and music and just the bad stigmas that the kids are picking up. So yeah, I feel like maybe that's the aspect of them being outside more or less in front of the devices and the TVs and not picking up so many bad habits. But yeah, I love this whole aspect of the kid thing in Panama. I'm like opening my eyes to something. So like, you guys are a family. Do you have trouble integrating as a family, like other young couples with kids, or like who's your social circle?
So while we're out at the park, grocery store, anything, there'll be other kids. And our daughter, she's a social butterfly. Like, she gets out there and she says hi to everybody, and she wants to she asks everybody if they'll be her best friend. Like, she's just a friendly kid. So with her being like that, she meets the other kids at these play areas. We end up setting up play dates from like her karate class. Like, at her party she just had, most of those people we met just from being out and about, because other people with small kids are very friendly. They want their kids to have more friends. So it's not because the kids are outside playing, it's not like, hey, you don't need to talk to that kid, just play with their friends online. Now everyone's like, hey, let's get together. Let's get these kids out there so they can meet, socialize, learn how to communicate better with each other. Because, kids are going to teach kids faster than adults can.
True.
It's just really cool to me. I really love it.
Have you came across any challenges at all with having a child here?
I can't think of any.
That's
anything
cool.
we thought about doing, we've been able to do. We wanted to put our daughter in horseback riding. We want to put her in karate. We want to put her in gymnastics. Everything's affordable. Everything's cheap. And she gets to go and experience all these different things that would have took planning and budgeting and whatnot in the U.S. that I never thought possible. So like, when I talk to even my sisters in the States and I tell her the stuff that I'm putting my daughter into, she's like, that is so awesome. Like, I'm so proud of y'all for making this move, not just for us, but we're going to have this little cultured baby coming back trilingual, talking to her cousins in all these different languages. It's dope. Like, I got the first bilingual baby in my family.
Yes. So what are some of your hopes for your child's future besides the trilingual thing? Just being international. But you're also military. See, I'm a military kid, so I feel like I'm that child. Like, we're wherever, it's whatever. It's not like we weren't really set in one specific place. Our stability was our family unit, and it just moved wherever it moved, but that was the stable thing. So that's like with you guys, your family unit is the consistency.
Yes. So because right now she's so young, it's very easy for her to adapt. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't know, and she's open to everything, which is amazing. If she does choose to go back to the US, I just would like that she can pick up where she left off and not feel the culture shock of adjusting to a different location. So especially, even though like we're learning Spanish or whatnot, obviously the main language is English in the house. We watch movies in English just to keep that foundation, and we'll let her know, like, yes, we're in Panama, but we're still American, we're from the US, like, understand. So I guess the goal I have for her is to always understand who you are at the core, and be open to changing as needed. And I feel like our job as parents is just to expose her to as much as possible, to allow her to be the best contribution to society, wherever that society may be.
Well, my goal for her, honestly, I want us to continue to spark her curiosity. So I want her to be adventurous. I meet a lot of people from Cali, from Chicago, from New York, and they're like, I'm never leaving. I was born here, I'm dying here. And I'm like, I don't want that for her. I want her to go out and explore the world, learn different cultures, learn about different people, but remaining humble in all, because when you understand different cultures, it increases a factor of like empathy, so you can understand more about them, and also how to treat people better. But I feel like a lot of hatred comes from a lot of ignorance, I feel, in a lot of ways. So the more she gets out and she gets to see all these different walks of life, the more she can appreciate even what she has, and the more she can empathize with the people that don't have, and be a better servant, like you said. So not like she's everyone's like servant in that nature, but she can just do better in the world. Like say she becomes a lawyer, she can understand more and treat people better, more respectful.
Nice. Okay, so just to circle back to something Katrina was saying, I get a lot of questions from people about, Panama, what about like retirees? What about schools? And it's all things, I'm not retired and I don't have kids. So can you just give us a more in-depth rundown of, you mentioned schools, prices, language, like do you have some information about the different schools, the pricing, and what they offer depending on which school you're choosing?
So here they have, like I said, different levels, I guess. But some of the schools, for example, is just like name brand. So you can get knockoff. It's still good quality, but if you want that name brand, you finna pay that name brand price. So like when we first came here, we lived in 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐿. That is a status neighborhood that we were unaware of. That's where all the expats or foreigners, right, live. And it's a very pretty place. And the schools there are accordingly. So you are paying top dollar for the education. I'm personally not big on brands. So I care more about quality of versus a name brand or, the brand itself. So she went to school there for a little bit. And I wasn't impressed with what they were doing. There was nothing significant that was like, I see, it's worth it. That school that she went to in 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐿 was $700 a month, $750. Don't remember, but
college tuition.
Exactly. There's some that are way more expensive.
Okay, but mind you, we're coming from San Diego, and San Diego was $1,600 a month. Okay, and she's 3. So when we came here, we're like, oh my gosh, it's so cheap. And then we move into the city, and I put her in another school. Now, these more expensive schools, sometimes they tag, like they'll have the title of international, or, we do US. So that's what they're using to like have it a little higher. If you love it, love it. If you don't love it, find something else. Thankfully, there's a lot of alternatives. We came here to integrate into the culture, not to be the American living in Panama, like just living, the one that dwells here. I want to be, in the culture. So I found a school, trilingual. They do swimming and karate and soccer, all these things, and it's only $230 a month. So, like I said, it can vary. And I know, like, example, depending on where you live, our nanny at one point, her kid, she said that she paid like $120. Once again, different locations. Okay. But point is it fits any budget. It can fit any budget. If you want that top dollar education, you can find it. But right now, we're choosing to do homeschooling. Nothing against Panama. It's actually, I always wanted to do it in the US, but didn't have the time because we were working. And she's so young, I can physically do it. Panama law is they do not have to start school officially until they're 6. Panama law also states you can homeschool. But unfortunately, there is not as much like guidance or legislature on it. So the law is, it's possible, but it doesn't tell you how, where, like any details, which is a good thing because you can do how you want, but at the same time, it can be a little challenging to make sure that all the boxes are being checked.
Yeah, and remember, we just this year had our daughter tested because she was going to start kindergarten this year. But she tested, she's above a first grade level, but they wanted to keep her in kindergarten because of age. But it's because she's already advancing and she already knows everything that they know that they're going to be teaching in kindergarten. What do you think she's going to be doing while they're trying to learn? She's going to become a distraction because she's bored. So right now, while she's still that sponge, ready to learn more and more and more, we'll get her to second, third grade level, and then next year, when the age doesn't matter, she can go to where she needs to be intellectually. That's what's most important to us. But I'm not going to send her to daycare or to kindergarten right now to literally trace letters and numbers when she's already doing triple-digit math and whatnot. So that was another big factor on our homeschooling with the schools. We got a choice for anything and for everybody. The first school we had her, they taught English, Spanish, and Mandarin. The school right down the street teach English, Spanish, and French. The one over there, they speak the Italian school. Like, there's a school for any language you want them to learn. It's really
Hebrew, Japanese, and the campuses, some of these are really pretty. Like, some of these are really like, wow, this is a school. Which is nice because, example, you have a heritage or a lineage, of your family, and you want them to learn that language or that culture, you send them to that school.
Yeah, and the communities there are huge. It's beautiful.
That's awesome. Wow, that's new, you guys. So, like, you're a couple that made it here. You researched. You had some bumps and bruises along the way, I'm sure. So what advice can you give to other young couples doing what you guys are doing? You guys 4 years ago, when you first were like browsing, like, what am I going to do? What advice, like what process should they, or what steps should they take to get prepared to be where you guys are at today?
I would say, first thing, do it. Okay. First thing is do it.
Nice.
Because we have so many friends and family, when we were telling them our plan, a lot of them were apprehensive and, oh, that sounds dangerous. Speaking obviously without any education or no studying, no nothing. Once we got here, everything changed to I wish I could have. Wow, you guys live like that? Oh my gosh, I'm going to start looking into it now. You know what I'm saying? So often it's very scary doing something that maybe everybody doesn't agree with. But I would say do it. And remember, you always can go back. You always can go back. But as far as problems, one thing that America has Panama beat with is we have certain
websites,
laws, and we have like policy in place that here they do not. So unfortunately, everybody here is very nice, but everybody does not have your best interest at heart. And everybody's a professional. Everybody's a lawyer. Everybody knows somebody, and they do. But unfortunately, like example, in the U.S., to be a realtor, you have your license. We have an official database with an MLS. All the information is there, and it's verified. Here, I want to sell my house or rent my apartment. I have it listed on 3 websites for 3 different prices, and it's legal. And it could be $1,000, $2,000, $2,500. And if you call them and you're like, I saw it for $2,500, they're like, great. Sometimes they'll say it's negotiable, and the $2,500 will be like, yeah, I don't mind going down to $1,000. And it's like, what? Like, you was about to steal all that money from me? So I would say the biggest problem, number one, was not being so offended at the difference of the policy and the way that they do their day-to-day. Number 2 is getting a reliable source for a lot of things, whether it's the doctor, whether it's the lawyer, whether it's the teacher, whether it's the nanny, all of these things. It requires a little more work on your behalf to make sure that they're not just wasting your time, because that's what it ends up being. Like an example, when we first came here, I had a hookup, and the friend said, I have a lawyer that can help him get his paperwork. Okay, 4 months later, back and forth to the U.S., all these papers that have been copied and requested from the consulate, and none of it was necessary. None of it. The flights, the hotels, the papers, none of it.
Biggest thing I would say in preparation to come is to just get reputable recommendations from other people. So other expats that use this lawyer, they know the price is the exact same thing, but you'll meet people here, they're really nice people, and they got a friend that does this. Everyone's trying to, Panama's a really small country, so everyone has a friend that knows how to do something. And it's not ill-intentioned or whatnot. They're literally just trying to help their friend be able to make money, but sometimes the friends aren't as acknowledgeable as the professional readily doing it every day. So like the lawyer we had at first, he was a defense lawyer, but he wanted to help me with my immigration, but he wasn't well-versed in immigration, so it was a bit of a process. And then when I go to the immigration lawyer, he gets it done in 2 days. So it's like one of those, you have to be very specific about what you're asking for and who you're asking it from, because otherwise they're trying to help, but they just may not be that well equipped to help you.
And I would add, when it comes to, like I said, as Americans, we have certain standards, right? If you don't do it, I'm like, we could always, let me talk to your lawyer, or I want a refund or something. But here that doesn't exist all the time. So they're very like, I'm so sorry I wasted your time. And it's like, okay, well, give me my money back. And it's like, oh, I can't. So it's that type of situation where, like you said, reputable, but even further, someone who knows Americans. So when we met our official lawyer, night and day, because he was like, I meet with people all over the world, but especially I know how you Americans are. I know that you guys want things done fast and right the first time. You don't want to wait in line. The first lawyer was like, okay, you come down to immigration, for example, as soon as it opens at 8 a.m. and we'll wait in line. Now this line is all day long line. The second lawyer was like, meet me at 10 a.m. And when we met him, literally walked in because he had an appointment. Professionalism here is not the same as the US at all. And they will think they're being professional, as we know, and it will be the furthest thing from it. They don't always think ahead. So in that aspect, to protect your coins and save your time, I would say make sure you get somebody that knows Americans and is transparent.
To sum all that up, reputable recommendations. That's it.
Do you think part of it is the language barrier, the fact that we're expats and gringos and the gringo pricing? I did a video on that, so just wondering, have you experienced that feeling of, the price is higher because I'm not fluent in Spanish?
Honestly, no. We haven't. I personally have not experienced that, but I'm also a negotiator, so when they come with the price, I normally try to get something lower, or I'm asking for a discount of some sort or anything. In most cases, if it's something really expensive, we try that. And if we can't get it, then we can't get it. But, at least we try. Closed mouths don't get fed. So I'm going to try to lower that price.
But also some of the things, like example, I would have gladly paid the higher price for the more professional lawyer and been done with it than had to pay the lawyer that wasted my time and the professional. So if it's important, sometimes it's worth just to spend the money and be done.
Sometimes take the gringo price.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, at least it's going to be done and it's done right. Versus, hoping that everything works out type thing, just to save $500 or whatnot.
Okay. So what's your future looking like? Is this the forever home? Will there be a growing family even more? Future's now? The future's the president? The president?
Let's live for the now.
I checked light came on, so I can't run around with no more small kids. But I think that this will be... This is going to be now. This is home for now, but I don't think that I will be moving back permanently for a long time at least.
Things would definitely have to change to go back. And we love Panama for now. It's perfect.
We're adventurous.
But we're not...
We'll go to Asia.
Exactly. Finally make it to Asia and Mexico. We're not ever against moving. Because once again, you can always move back.
Yeah. Where in Asia? You guys keep saying Asia. Where specifically?
Anywhere.
Anywhere?
Anywhere.
China.
I'll go to all that. I'll even go over to Bali. I've been saying Bali a lot too. Japan's on my list for a long time.
I heard good things about Japan too. Yes, this could be like a home base and then sort of just start traveling from here. That's how I feel like I'm going to get down.
Exactly.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, I don't see us leaving here. There's too much good. There's too much we haven't explored. Our daughter loves it here. She is thriving here, and that's what's most important. Only bad part I can say is we brought our dog with us, and the hot climate, it's hard on dogs. That's all I can say. You got to walk them early and walk them late. They don't be outside in the daytime.
Okay, that's true. I didn't think about that. Wow. So did you have to pay to bring your dog on the plane?
We shipped him. We actually had him shipped. No, he flew, but I'm saying there was a pet shipping service. Mm-hmm. They cargoed him up and everything, and they flew on a plane. We had to pay for all that. It was a process, but they did everything for us, so it was really easy.
Like with that was one thing I didn't, skimp on, because it was like, I care about my dog. So I was like, just get my dog here safely. And we have a pit bull. So for people that have breeds that are not liked, or, it was a little difficult finding a airline to ship him because of the fact that he's considered an aggressive breed. But there are couriers that specifically focus on larger dogs, and that's what we utilized. But to get the pet into Panama, very easy. There's two ways you can do it. You, like if the dog is with you on the plane, in the airport, they have like a vet where they have to inspect your dog. And I think they spend a night, overnight at the vet, observing your dog, making sure your dog isn't
it's good enough to
rabies. I don't know, whatever. Or you arrive with your dog, and I think you pay $100 and you take your dog home.
Okay. Is there a quarantine period once you land with your animal here?
40 days.
They say 40 days, which is very strange because nobody checks.
Well, the quarantine period is 40 days because there's a lot of dog parks here, so they just don't take your dog to the dog park for 40 days. But of course, you have to go walk your dog so they can use the bathroom and whatnot.
And get them into bed.
Yeah, you just don't have them around other dogs. It's pretty easy laid out quarantine time.
The best.
Okay. That's what's up. It was a pleasure to have met you guys. I was coming out of the chiropractor and I ran into this friendly guy. I should have known he was from Cali. Like we just have a look or something. And so, yeah. And then I asked a couple questions, or I think he asked a couple questions, and we just hit it off quick. And then we met Katrina in the parking lot. That was so exciting. I feel like I keep meeting people on the fluke because, I'll just talk to anyone, anywhere about anything in any language. So I'm bound to make new friends. So it was not by accident that I ran into you guys that day. And then I was doing this series. It was just seemed perfect to have you here. And then, so for other people, what kind of advice, what kind of message before we leave are you giving to other people who are maybe dreaming of this, doing something different? Like times are changing where we're from. What kind of advice can you give them?
Only thing I can say is pull up, come on down, enjoy life, man. Life is way too short to be stressed out to the brink over there. Even though I love the U.S., that's forever my home, but right now things are just rough. So take a break, take a mental break, come on down. You can find a remote job. You can work at these jobs here. You can work at some of the international jobs. You're not confined to the U.S. borders. Just please remember that. And just be adventurous. Try it for 1 year. Give yourself 1 year. Try it out. I promise you'll thank yourself later. You will go back with so much mental clarity. De-stress is going to be gone. Your cortisol level is going to be at an all-time low. You'll just realize, man, I can actually be happy. I can actually be happy.
Yeah, same.
So pull up.
Perfectly said. I would just encourage, pretty much the answer is always no unless you ask. And the answer is always no unless you do it. So how are you going to be able to know if you like something or if something is better or if, whatever God has planned, unless you just do it. And if you don't like it, like, example, when people would ask me, what happens if you don't like it? It's like, it's a country. Like, it's a whole country. Like, we're not talking about a street. Like, you're telling me I'm not going to like the whole country? Like, nothing in a country. Like, it just blows my mind, And example, in the city, it's a Miami, So got the cars, you got the restaurants, you got the music, you got the livelihood. But if you're more beach town, and you know, a lot of expats are in Coronado or Volcan, or they go to Boquete, where the temperature is cooler than the city, where it's a little more humid. Like, there's so much versatility in the world, okay, in general. So where it's like, you know, just open your mind.
Okay, that's what's up, you guys. So thanks for joining me today, TJ and Katrina. You guys, if you liked what you heard in this video, like the stream, subscribe, share, because we want YouTube to circulate this video. There was a lot of good information here. If you're a young family and you have kids, TJ and Katrina just broke it down for you guys. So stop listening to naysayers, stop worrying about the media, and pull up, right? Yes. So you guys, thanks for joining in today. This is Cali Girl Live, and I hope to talk to you soon. Stay tuned because I have more wonderful expat encounter couples to share with you. Thanks for joining me today, you guys, and I hope to talk to you really soon. Say deuces to Cali Girl Live.
Thank
you. Yes. So there you have it, you guys. TJ and Katrina are over here winning, and you could be winning too, you guys. So if you like the video, go ahead and drop kick that like button, hit the subscribe, and tap the notification bell, because I have so much more to share, and I don't want you to miss it. Thanks so much for watching today, you guys. I share, you share, we share together. I'm Cali Girl, and it's my Panama lifestyle. Deuces. Yes.